Right now, inside every cell in your body, there is damage that your system has not had time to clean up. Misfolded proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, accumulated cellular debris that builds up faster than the body can process it during normal fed cycles. Not because something is wrong with you, because your cells are constantly producing waste, and the cleanup crew only gets full permission to run when specific biological conditions are met. Most people never meet those conditions consistently enough for the cleanup to finish its work. Autophagy is that cleanup system, and what happens when you trigger it every single day for 30 days, not once, not occasionally, but as a daily biological event, is something that researchers have only recently begun measuring with precision. By week 4, something changes that almost nobody who writes about autophagy talks about. Not in the brain, not in the immune system, not in the skin, but in how the body responds to the signal itself. Subscribe now because the next video covers the 3 triggers that activate the deepest autophagy response with the least disruption to your daily routine, and which combination produces the strongest effect. Think of your body as a building with a professional cleaning company contracted to work every night. When the cleaning crew arrives on schedule, they sweep the floors, clear the waste bins, repair damaged equipment, and leave the building ready for the next day. Every department runs better. Every system is starting from a clean baseline. When the crew gets canceled because there is too much food still being processed, because insulin is high, because the building is still in full production mode, the waste accumulates. Not catastrophically on day 1, but over weeks and months, the debris builds up in every corner of every room. The equipment degrades. The building keeps functioning, but at a fraction of its capacity. Daily autophagy is the cleaning crew arriving on schedule every night for 30 consecutive days. Here is what changes in each week. Week 1, days 1 through 7. The primary change in the first week is not dramatic, it is infrastructural. Beclin-one, the protein that initiates the autophagy process by forming the isolation membrane around damaged cellular components, begins to upregulate. A study published in 2025 by Dastghaib and colleagues at Shiraz University of Medical Sciences, measuring autophagy markers over 30 days of consistent daily fasting, found significant upregulation of Beclin-one gene expression even in the early phase of the protocol. What this means practically, the body is building more of the machinery it uses to run autophagy. The cleaning crew is not just arriving, it is also training new workers and acquiring better equipment. LC3, the protein that marks the autophagosome membrane and serves as a direct indicator of active autophagy, begins to measurably shift. The P62 protein, which accumulates when autophagy is inactive and decreases when autophagy is running efficiently, begins to decline. These are not symptoms you feel in week 1. They are changes in the infrastructure of cellular maintenance. The system is calibrating to a new daily standard. And here is what nobody mentions about this week. The first 7 days are the hardest. The body is adjusting to a new schedule. The cleaning crew is arriving at a building that has not been consistently cleaned in years. There is more debris to process than the system can handle in a single session. Sleep quality often improves in week 1 as autophagy runs most actively during deep sleep stages, when growth hormone is elevated and the cells are in their deepest repair mode. Week 2, days 8 through 14. By week 2, the cellular environment is beginning to shift visibly at the organ level. In the brain, the daily autophagy signal begins to influence BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Multiple mechanisms connect autophagy activation to BDNF elevation, primarily through the AMPK pathway and through the clearance of cellular debris that creates oxidative stress in neural tissue. As that debris reduces, the inflammatory load on neurons drops, and the cellular environment becomes more favorable for neuroplastic processes. The practical experience many people report in week 2 aligns with what the biology predicts: clearer thinking, reduced mental fog, more stable energy across the day. These are not placebo effects. They correspond to measurable reductions in neuroinflammatory load as the autophagy process begins clearing the backlog from the first week. In the liver, which is one of the most metabolically active organs and one of the primary sites of autophagy activity, damaged hepatic proteins and dysfunctional mitochondria begin to clear at an accelerated rate. The liver handles more cleanup requests per day than almost any other organ because it processes everything that enters the bloodstream from digestion. 2 weeks of consistent daily autophagy represents what may be the first sustained deep cleaning this organ has experienced in years for most people. Insulin sensitivity begins to improve in week 2. not because of weight changes at this stage, but because the cellular machinery that responds to insulin is being maintained and repaired rather than accumulating damage. Week 3, days 15 through 21. Week 3 is where the immune system effects become the dominant story. Autophagy is one of the primary mechanisms by which immune cells clear intracellular pathogens, damaged organelles, and misfolded proteins that would otherwise trigger chronic low-grade inflammation. When autophagy runs consistently for 3 weeks, the immune system's housekeeping function begins to operate more efficiently. Senescent cells, cells that have stopped dividing but continue to release inflammatory signals, sometimes called zombie cells, are partially targeted by the autophagy process. While autophagy alone does not clear senescent cells the way specialized pathways do, consistent autophagy reduces the inflammatory environment that allows senescent cell accumulation to accelerate. In the skin, collagen synthesis runs more cleanly when the cells responsible for it, fibroblasts, are cleared of accumulated damage. Autophagy in fibroblasts specifically helps maintain the quality of collagen and elastin production. The 30-day timeline is relevant here because collagen turnover is measured in weeks to months, not days. Week 3 represents the beginning of the window, where the cellular maintenance is translating into improved output from the cells responsible for structural skin proteins. Inflammatory markers, specifically C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, show measurable improvement in people who maintain consistent daily autophagy triggers for 3 or more weeks. The Ramadan fasting study by Dastghaib and colleagues found that consistent daily fasting did not adversely affect inflammatory markers over 30 days, and the autophagy marker changes were consistent and sustained. Week 4, days 22 through 30. This is the part that most writing about autophagy never reaches. By week 4, something fundamental has changed, not just in the cellular cleanup itself, but in how efficiently the body responds to the autophagy signal. The machinery is better maintained. The infrastructure built in week 1 is now running at full capacity. The Beclin-one upregulation that began in the first week has compounded. The autophagosomes form faster. The fusion with lysosomes for debris processing is more efficient. In neuroscience terms, week 4 represents the point where the structural changes from sustained BDNF elevation and reduced neuroinflammation begin to compound. Synaptic connections that were maintained through better cellular housekeeping now have 4 weeks of accumulated benefit. The brain at week 4 of consistent daily autophagy is operating in a fundamentally different cellular environment than it was at day 1. For the immune system, week 4 represents approximately 1 immune cycle. The cells that were in production at the start of the 30 days have completed their cycle. New immune cells are being produced in an environment that has been consistently maintained rather than accumulated with debris. The quality of the immune response shifts when the cellular environment it operates in is consistently cleaner. And the metabolic effects compound. 4 weeks of improved insulin sensitivity, more efficient mitochondrial function, and consistently cleared cellular debris represents a metabolic baseline that is measurably different from where most people start. This is not weight loss as the primary mechanism, it is cellular quality. The cleaning crew that arrives at the building in week 4 is more efficient than the one that arrived in week 1. The building they are cleaning is also starting from a significantly cleaner baseline. The compound effect of 30 consecutive days is not linear. The benefit at day 30 is not 30 times the benefit at day 1. It is something qualitatively different. Before the protocol, nothing here replaces medical guidance. If you have diabetes, liver disease, kidney disease, a history of disordered eating, or take ongoing medication, speak with your doctor before changing your eating or exercise patterns. Autophagy is a natural cellular process, but the conditions used to trigger it consistently, including time-restricted eating and exercise, require individual assessment. This content covers biological mechanisms and is not a treatment protocol for any specific condition. The practical framework for 30 days of daily autophagy activation has 3 components working together. First, a consistent daily eating window that gives the body at least 14 hours without caloric input. This is the primary and most reliable autophagy trigger for most people. Consistency of timing matters as much as duration. The same window every day trains the circadian system to expect and prepare for the cleanup phase. Second, exercise. Both resistance training and high-intensity interval work activate AMPK, suppress mTOR, and trigger autophagy independently of dietary timing. Exercise-induced autophagy peaks within hours of a session and contributes to the daily total. Third, sleep quality. Autophagy runs most actively during slow-wave sleep when growth hormone is elevated and the body is in its deepest repair state. 30 days of daily autophagy activation without consistent quality sleep is 30 days of interrupted cleaning cycles. The building that has its cleaning crew arrive on schedule, with full access, and enough time to do the work every single night for 30 days is not the same building it was on day one. If this changed how you think about what 30 days of consistent autophagy actually does inside the body, subscribe and leave a like. Tell me in the comments which week of this timeline surprised you the most, and have you ever done a 30-day protocol long enough to feel the week 4 difference? Next video, the 3 specific autophagy triggers and exactly how to combine them for the strongest daily response without disrupting your routine.